Welcome back to the Fanboy Cantina. In this video, we are unboxing the s.h.figuarts, the Book of Boba Fett figure with throne. Finding an action figure like this typically means going to a retailer overseas. I usually go to HobbyLink Japan, but at the time that I placed the pre-order, they weren't taking any more pre-orders. So I had to go to Amazon Japan, and that was my first time using them. And what was really great, thanks to that pre-order price guarantee thing, it went down in price, and that saved me a bunch of money. So with another 30 bucks of shipping, I got this action figure shipped to my door for about $108, $107. So that's a heck of a deal, I think. And this is the Book of Boba Fett action figure. It comes in a hefty sized box. It does a nice job of showcasing the throne and Boba Fett sitting on that throne, along with all of the accessories inside. I don't like the extra shiny reflective kind of front that it's got. It makes it really hard to take a picture. But inside you can see the alternate head sculpts, the hands, the weapon accessories, and on the back you got the artwork along with some photography. Let's get into it. Inside the box is a small print of the action figure along with an instruction sheet. And this instruction sheet was helpful for me, at least in trying to understand how to do the gaffy stick. Taking it out of the package, this is the Book of Boba Fett action figure with the throne. And this is a fantastic way to display all of the accessories that are included, along with the main feature here, the Book of Boba Fett action figure with that throne accessory. Above the action figure are the two alternate head sculpts, and then to the left we have the rocket pack or jetpack and related accessories, while to the right we have the weapons accessories and alternate hands. There are a total of 5 pairs of hands with this action figure. So this is the action figure itself. This is Boba Fett as he appears in the Book of Boba Fett. I'm going to do things a little bit different here. If you notice in the background, I've got this black background, obviously. But what happens here, when you look at the chest armor, you look at that green color, it may look a little too bright. And the reason for why that looks the way that it does is because I'm tricking the camera with that black background. So I think if I switch to the white background, now you can see the colors are spot on. It's the right color, I think, for Boba Fett as he appears in the Book of Boba Fett. But when I take a video here, I think it shows up a little too dark, so it's a little bit hard to see the sculpt work, the details associated with it. So I'm going to continue to use the black background for this video. The action figure is just amazingly well executed. The sculpt work is tremendous, and there are a lot of truly fine details that have been rendered in spectacular fashion here on an action figure. Of course, you need to have the dent, right, in the Boba Fett helmet, and of course it's there. But even some of the finer details. There's like 2 small arrows that are right there at the top, right above the visor, or the I don't know what you call that, but they are there as well. The rangefinder flips down, so that is quite nice. Continuing on, there is tremendous articulation in the body. You can see the shoulders are articulated. There's movement in the arms. That upper bicep also can be twisted around. Obviously the elbow works as well. The default, or I guess the way that it's packed, has the closed fists for the action figure. The gauntlet is nicely executed. There's great paintwork, a lot of detail throughout here as well. And we can move to the other side. The other gauntlet, looks quite nice too, and also the closed fist. But check this out. Check out the hoses here. These are like individually sculpted hoses attached to the action figure. They could have just been sculpted flat or something else like that, but those look like individual pieces. That's really quite amazing. Taking a look at the chest armor is nicely painted, nicely sculpted, and it's got a lot of details. You've got the weathering accents, you've got the insignia on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, it's a little bit hard to see, but there are little red paint details on there. And then, of course, you've got the mythosaur symbol on the shoulder armor. There is armor on the back, and then with the belt, there's little paint details for each of those shells or whatever they are. With that holster, it's interesting. You can't take the pistol out of the holster. For the action figure, you've got a separate pistol by itself and a replaceable empty holster that you would stick in there. Now, looking at the leg articulation, so it may look a little bit funny, but there is good articulation in the leg portions. I feel like it's a little bit limited, like with the knee. You've got limited, I mean, it's up and down, and that's kind of it. You can't really twist it around. Same is true for the ankle, or at least I'm reluctant to force it very hard to see if there is more movement. The front toe is bendable, so that's kind of cool. Post in the comments if you can figure out what brand of boots does Boba Fett wear based on the tread of those boots. This Boba Fett also has soft goods, and this is for that black attire, that Tuscan kind of looking attire. And I think they did it perfectly here, where it's the right kind of weight and it poses nicely. If you move it around, it looks nice, and also has that fraying at the bottom, so it looks more weathered. Now let's get to the jetpack. So first we need to remove that rear armor plate, and that's easy enough to do. It's held in by that small rectangular piece. You'll notice the 3 holes in the back, and those are for the jetpack, and it inserts nicely, or relatively nicely, right there. It doesn't have like a satisfying snap or anything like that. It does look a little bit further removed from the action figure. It's not quite flush, but it looks fine enough. The jetpack also comes with an alternate rocket that is quite easy to replace in the jetpack. The jetpack also has these blast effects so that it can look like the jetpack is, taking off, or that it's shooting that missile, that rocket. Now, what's interesting about the jetpack effects is it doesn't insert to like the bottom of the exhaust. Instead, you take the entire exhaust piece out, and that's pretty easy to do. And now we take, you want to match it to the appropriate sides. And I think the reason why they did that is if you look really closely, you can kind of see the exhausts or the nozzles right there deep inside, right there within that blast effect. So that's a really cool attention to detail. They could have just had pieces that you insert, that you stick on at the bottom of the jetpack, but instead they did it really nicely. They did it right where you got to replace the jet exhaust. Overall, I think that look of the jetpack in flight is quite nicely executed. There is also this insert that you can use for creating that illusion that the rocket is now firing. This is not my thing. I think it looks a little bit goofy here. You probably wouldn't have both of those effects on at the same time. But even just by itself, yeah, I don't think that's for me. Moving on, let's talk about other weapons and hands. So again, there are 5 sets of hands with this action figure. 3 of those sets are deliberately formed so that they will pair perfectly with different weapons. So you've got a set of hands that works well with the blaster rifle, a set of hands that works nicely with the pistol. I'm not great at action figure photography, but you can see it works out quite nicely. The one that gave me a little bit of pause is figuring out the gaffy stick. And so the gaffy stick looks like it's a single piece. That's a single unit. One thing just to point it out here, the sculpt work is really great with this. It is really fine where you can see the grooves in the gaffy stick. The instruction sheet explains that it's actually 2 separate pieces. So there's a little ridge right there, and now you can take the two parts, the two halves of the gaffy stick, and insert it into the fist where the hole is very small, but it's the perfect size for the gaffy stick. Now with the two sides back together, this looks amazing. This is a great look. I think this is probably my favorite weapon accessory for this Boba Fett. The action figure is packed with the helmeted version of Boba Fett, and to replace that we can easily pop off the helmet, and that looks actually really great if you want to have Boba Fett, holding his helmet separately. To replace it with the human head, you'll want to remove that black molded neck piece and instead use the flesh colored neck piece. You want to get that scarf or whatever it is situated in the right way. And now we've got the unhelmeted version of Boba Fett. I think the head sculpt looks quite good. It's a good looking rendition of Temuera Morrison. Paint wise, I feel like it doesn't look quite right compared to how Temuera Morrison looks, and in particular the eyes are not quite right, where I wish there was a little bit more paint work, more definition for the eyes, and instead it's pretty much the flesh tone with the eyes, so it doesn't look right. I think this is common across the board. I don't think it's unique. I don't think it's an issue with my action figure, but this is a fine looking head sculpt for Temuera Morrison as Boba Fett. There is also an alternate version, an alternate head sculpt, and also unhelmeted. So this one's a more angrier, a more intense looking version of Boba Fett, and I think this one looks really great, and there's better paint work, better definition around the eyes. I think for many people picking up this set, it will be because of Boba Fett's throne. And that includes me. The main reason why I picked up this set is because of the included throne. And it does not disappoint. I think it looks quite nice. Just for the sake of testing it, I'm going to put the white background behind it just so you can see, is it true enough to the color. I think it looks lighter in this video because of the brightness of the lights that I'm using to shoot the video. So it does look to me in the right color of tan or brown or whatever we want to call it here. You've got the gold kind of effects right on the faces or the monsters on the front of it, and you can see also that weathering as well. On the top of the throne, you'll notice this is not a flat surface. There's actually, ridges, there's weathering. It's as though this was a throne carved out specifically for, well, I guess it would have been Bib Fortuna, but now it's Boba Fett's throne. But there's a lot of nice detail, a lot of attention to, weathering and use for the throne. If we look at the sides, on the sides here, at the bottom, you'll see that it's a little bit darker. It's like it's dirtier or something. That's pretty cool. On the back, it's pretty simple. Notice, though, there's this hole, and I don't remember seeing this in the series. I'll believe that it's there. I think it looks a little bit, funny just holding this piece, but I think if you've got it on display and you've got something behind it, some kind of interesting background, I think it'll look perfectly fine. And of course, you won't even notice it really once you put Boba Fett on the throne. And I gotta tell you, this looks really, really great. Overall, I am very pleased with the s.h.figuarts, the Book of Boba Fett action figure with throne. I think it's just amazingly well executed. The action figure is great, tremendous articulation, all of the accessories, the thoughtfulness in pairing specific hands with the weapons accessories, and then the throne, just amazingly well executed. I love the attention to detail, the weathering. It looks really, really great. I think it will be a question of price point. If you can luck out like I did in terms of what you pay for this, that will matter for sure. But I do think it's a great piece. So post in the comments, what do you think of the s.h.figuarts Book of Boba Fett action figure with throne? Are you going to add it to your collection? As always, thank you so much for watching. please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. This has been the Fanboy Cantina.